Hey there folks, how's it going? Ryan Kebe here with your Armstrong Neighborhood Channel, and we are out and about in the community here, enjoying the beautiful weather here at Diamond Park, coming to you with some important information regarding an important event and some important people putting that event together. One of those people being Joe Galbo of the Meadville Memorial Day Observance Committee, putting together the Meadville Memorial Day Observance. And thank you so much for joining us to bring us this information, and we really appreciate it.
Well, and thank you for coming to us here. Armstrong has been an important partner with the Memorial Day Observance for many, many years, bringing it into the living rooms of individuals that their years, some of the ailments and things that they have prevent them from being able to experience it here, but they have the ability through their television and through our other broadcast partners to experience that, which we genuinely appreciate. And that's something that you folks do, again, with so many other community events in this town, and it's very much appreciated.
Well, thank you so much, Joe. So, you know, to get started, obviously the reason that we are here is Memorial Day. And, you know, the first question that I have, you know, is what is the meaning of Memorial Day, Joe? Obviously that has a meaning for many different people, but, you know, if you could have you know, give us your thoughts on what the meaning of Memorial Day, you know, that would be much appreciated. What would you say?
Well, certainly. Oftentimes people get confused because there's Veterans Day, and that celebrates all individuals that served in all of the armed forces, and rightly so, to recognize the sacrifice and contributions that they made in service to their country. Memorial Day is another level. What it is it commemorates those individuals that actually lost their life in service to their country, being killed in action somewhere. And I think that from that standpoint, it's one of those things that in the 365 days of a year that we have to live in the great country that we do and enjoy all of the privileges of citizenship that we have, that this is one day out of those 365, and really for all intents and purposes maybe a couple of hours to remember those individuals that paid the ultimate price for the freedom that folks have here now. It's one of those things where for many individuals, we learn about that, we drive by cemeteries, we see the flags in the cemetery, and I think that people are generally grateful for that. For other individuals that have actually lost somebody, that day has an even more permanent and lasting memory. My son had a couple of tours in Iraq. On one of those tours, he lost his best friend in the unit. And it's one of these things where he helps us on this committee, but in memory of his friend, since he got home, he has a picnic because that's what his friend would have wanted. And I think in talking to a lot of the other veterans, particularly those that were in country in service of their country, it's one of these things where they don't want a day spent in sackcloth and ashes. They want maybe just some time to remember their comrades that have fallen. But from that time, even those individuals that gave their lives would want individuals to enjoy the freedom that they paid the ultimate price for at this point. So in a nutshell, that's Memorial Day is so much more than just a day off from school or a day off from work. It's one of the most important days in the course of a year for Americans, and we try to provide an opportunity for them to be able to fully appreciate what that is.
Very well said. Like you said, I mean, it is to memorialize those that have paid the ultimate price, and you know, remember that, and you know, very well said, as you said. So, you know, with that being said, you know, how did the parade and the observance, you know, how did that come together? How did you guys, you know, get that idea?
Well, it was before my time, which seems hard to believe because somewhere along the way I became the senior member of the Memorial Day Observance Committee. And we are an adjunct of the city. And a little bit different than the Shade Tree Commission, which I serve on and a lot of other ones, is that the city of Meadville has recognized how important it is to celebrate Memorial Day, and so there is a special group of people to get together whose sole purpose is to stage those events. Memorial Day has been celebrated probably in Meadville probably since the Civil War. It was Decoration Day. I'm old enough to remember calendars that had Decoration Day on it there. Memorial Day became one of the Monday holidays, so to speak, probably in the 60s or early 70s. Okay. And at that point there, a few years after that, Ben Maselli, who was a member of the Kiwanis Club, went to one of the Kiwanis conventions in late 70s, early 80s. And at that time, they brought up as one of their charter goals that communities should embrace Memorial Day more. That by the late 60s, early 70s, maybe some of the groups and things that had been doing those for many years, maybe a lot of them started losing members or what have you. And so the Kiwanis felt that this is something that should be looked at with regard to Meadville. And from what's been relayed to me, the fraternal military organizations, the VFW, the American Legion, maybe got together and did some things, but as far as the general public's participation in those, I'm not exactly sure it was probably that great. They did it because it's a part of their commitment that they have to remember their fallen comrades. Ben Maselli then brought the idea to the community, and there were other groups, the Kiwanis. I'm a member of Rotary. There were groups that helped to provide some monies toward that. And then from that standpoint, the fraternal military organizations became involved. And so around in the 70s, early 80s, that's when the incarnation we see now occurred. That's where there's a parade at 10 a.m. And that is part of the celebration of the community and of life. And then at 11, that is when the solemn observance occurs. And from that standpoint, it is a ritual that has some elements that you'll find in other ceremonies and things throughout probably the state or maybe the country, but then some things that are specific to what we do here. And that is something that we do change, and the members that preceded me, and John Lehman was the great chairman before I was, and John said something each year that this isn't necessarily carved in stone, that we should be open to being able to change some things, little twists and turns here, but the basic observance that my son, when he was that little, came to see, and that now my grandchildren will see, the basic components of it are still there.
Man, it sounds like there's a lot of moving parts, to get this all going and to put this event together. How long, would you say it takes to put all this together? And, could you tell us everyone that's involved, on the committee? Yeah,
well, the fraternal military organizations, the VFW, the American Legion, now Vietnam Vets Post 52, these are all groups that provide very, very valuable contributions, not only financially, but also in being part of the observance and participating in the parade, being the honor guard, those types of things. The glue that holds all of us together are those groups. And then there are civilians like myself that have some family connections to it. The city of Meadville, across the street from where we're at right now, has been a very valuable part of this, and their staff, particularly over the last few years, have been indispensable in being able to do some of the back end things with regard to notifying people that have been in the parade before. And the one thing for the 2022 Memorial Day is that the parade is back, and with COVID, obviously, that was something that various state guidelines and things like that, it wasn't necessarily compatible, but the observance itself, which is the most important and sacred of the charges that we have, the observance never skipped a beat, even with regard to COVID. We were able to observe the criteria that existed at the very onset of COVID The parade was not one of the things that we could do, but we did have the observance. And another group that is part of the whole ball of wax, there would be the 150th Bucktails, and those are the Civil War reenactors that we have. And as we see down at the southern end of the park down there, there is a Piper Memorial. And at the beginning of COVID, it was determined, there was really kind of up to the wire as to what we could do and when we could do it. And so we had a very limited complying with the number of people that you could have there. And we had the observance ready to go, and I look out in the park, and there's the Bucktails. We're still not at the maximum at that time of people that you could have in the park and all that. And I said to Bob Franklin, who's a master of ceremonies, well, I guess we'll put them in. I wasn't expecting them, but I'm glad to see them here. And here, they honored their commitment to their fallen comrade, and they left. And the thing being is, it was one of those things that this is how sacred this is really to us. And they wanted to make sure that they were compliant with all regulations, but they went and did their thing, and then we did our thing here. Normally, though, that is part of our observance, where there is a special part of what we do to commemorate a gentleman that gave his life during the Civil War from this area for us. So we start in January. We go all the way through. We have a hot wash wrap meeting in June, and then we take a little time off, but then in January we're starting all over again. And a lot of the things that happen here, and even we have, we're proud to have Chief Wiley from the fire department here, and we have, in case, the one thing, the good Lord is very good to us with regard to lack of rain. But sometimes the sun comes out, and the park is going to be a little bit different than it is here in a month out at that point. But we have fire and rescue on standby. We have a lot of things, and that's where the committee does come into play.
Yeah, and speaking of things, specific to Meadville, like you were saying, what could you tell us about some things that we could expect that may be different this year, this year's ceremony?
Well, yeah, one of the things that and Bob Franklin, who is a master of ceremonies for the event, brought up in the January meeting, and brought up the idea of those people from Crawford County that gave their life in service of their country, that were killed in action during it. And again, that was one of those things that for all the years that we've done this, it kind of hit all of us at the same time. Well, yeah, we should have been doing this all along. There are a lot of individuals that have. Tony DiGiacomo, who's a member of the committee, who's the Crawford County Veterans Director, took a lot of time in compiling, and they're not all in one central place. Those people from Crawford County that again were killed in action and paid the ultimate price. So between the parade and the formal, the solemn observance at 11, he's going to, in advance, read all these names off, and some of our broadcast partners are going to play those between the parade and the observance. And from our end of it, we're going to look to, we commemorate generally, we have a theme, and it's usually some military action or war that the country was involved in. And so this year, it's Persian Gulf. We're going to be doing Vietnam next year. Both of those came kind of around, there's significant anniversaries for both of them around this time. And so I think we'll have about 6 this year we'll name. For Vietnam, there'll be more. World War II will be, there's quite a number of individuals that lost their lives. But we're going to work those into our observance because we believe that it is important. There are some names there that maybe even some family members may not remember, but they'll have a connection there. And we felt that that's important, that we, again, have a couple hours out of the day that people take out, and then we tell them, go and enjoy the rest of your day. That's why that price was paid. but we do believe that it's important to remember some of those people that we're indebted to at this point. So that is something being added for this year, and we thank Bob Franklin for bringing that to the committee.
Well, like you said, I mean, that is extremely important. Like you said, you believe that that's important. We believe that's important, and we want to thank you for putting this all together. Like you said, Tony, all the legwork that he did to put all that together, to again remember the individuals that paid the ultimate price at this sacred day. Like you said, sacred. I think that was a really, really important word that I think we should all look at, and again, not take this for granted. And again, May 30th, the ceremony is going to start at 10 a.m.
Well, the parade starts at 10.
Right. Okay.
And then the observance starts promptly at 11, and it takes maybe 40 minutes, maybe 45 minutes. And again, the one thing that I will tell you, and we've had other folks come from other areas, and the Meadville observance is kind of the granddaddy of them all. And we've had people come from Mercer County and other ones. Number one, those individuals are overwhelmed by Diamond Park, because I think sometimes, again, we take for granted the things that a lot of other places don't have. Mm-hmm. The other thing that they do is just the attendance that we have. And even coming out of COVID, how many individuals did safely come back, but how much it means. We were talking, the good Lord likes our event. When I took over, John Lehman was chair before I was, and he was unavoidably detained in Boston, and I had to run the event before I became chair. And the good Lord then decided that it was going to rain, and it was going to rain buckets. And now we were under the gazebo over there, but there was a large group of people out here in the rain that basically were there for the observance. So I think it speaks volumes about this area and what Memorial Day does mean to people, and that tradition is well kept here in Meadville.
Very well said, Joe. Thank you so much for providing this information, and again, to your committee for putting this incredible event on as we remember those that have paid the ultimate sacrifice on Memorial Day this year, 2022. Thank you so much, Joe.
Thank you, and thank Armstrong.